Hello everyone, this is the Mining Geologist and I'm back again with another very exciting and very informative tutorial. If you're following me on LinkedIn, you will notice that I think 1 month ago I ran a poll in which I asked you guys what kind of tutorials you want to see on my channel. You want to see like Python applied to geoscience related things, like we create a simple app that does something, or you want to see Python in QGIS, or like bit optimization, or like hosting someone on my channel. And the top two were like you want to see Python, creating something in Python from scratch, or applying Python in QGIS. So both of these have like 35% of the votes. So I just took the decision to start with creating something in Python, and here I am. I was thinking about what kind of thing that I can create, and it's going to be both simple, so because I know that a lot of my followers are not like Python coders, so it's going to be a little bit hard for them if we dive into something complicated. And I want that to be also at the same time something useful, something that you can use on your daily, activities. And at the same time, it needs to be something simple that people who are not familiar with Python, they can, do the same things and follow the tutorial, and they end up with creating something which I think is going to be cool. And so that's what we are going to be doing today. So let me show you what kind of things we're going to create. So basically we have this small web app. It's going to run on our local machine, but you can host this app and make it like available online. So what this one is going to do, we're gonna use some coordinates. I'm gonna use some random coordinates, maybe 51, and then we're gonna go like -91 and -90. So we are going to see where these latitude, longitude are exactly, and you can see that they are somewhere in Canada. So yeah, this is a location. This is the bounds that we just selected in here. And what we are, maybe we can change this to like 50.5, and you can see that the bounds are smaller now. And then what we can do is we can just click on the download DEM, and this one is gonna download the DEM automatically for us, and then we can use that like to generate contours, or we can use it in softwares that supports the DEMs. And the good thing is that whenever you choose the bounds, whether they are big or small, whether they are like rectangular bounds or whatever you want, they're gonna be clipped automatically, and they're going to be downloaded, or you're going to download the area that you're interested in, and you can use that directly in QGIS or any package you want. So that's what we are going to see just in a moment. Okay, so let's jump into coding, and we are going to start with importing the libraries that we are going to use in this code. So the first thing that we'll need is basically import. We're going to go and do import requests. So requests is a library that will allow us to send requests to a server, like a get request, which means that we want to get something from the server. And this is really useful when there's like some websites with an API, so we can interact with a website and send information, like request informations from the website, and we're gonna get a response from the website. That it could be like something like an information, a text that we can use to get some sort of an information, or it could be like a file. Like in our case, we want a DEM from that server. And if you want to look at what are APIs and how are they used, you can go and Google that, because I know that most of you guys are either like geologists, mining engineers or geoscientists in general. So I don't expect you guys to know what is an API or these kind of things that are related more to the to IT. Okay. So you can go and Google that, but it's not something really complicated. And we're going to look at something really simple, and you don't have to worry about what is an API, because I'm going to show you exactly how we can use one of these, and it's really that simple. So that's the first library that we're going to use. The second one is going to be pandas. So we're going to import pandas as PD. So basically pandas is, you can think of this one as with this one you will be able to manipulate tables. So you can think of this as if you have an Excel sheet inside Python. So for example, you can say I want the first column plus the second column, and I want the result to be in a column, in a third column called results. And you can go and filter out by, let's say, by a value, and you can sort the values in the different columns. So you can do all these kind of things the same way you do them in Excel, but you do them in Python. So that's what pandas is all about. The third one that we're going to need is Streamlit. Streamlit is a really powerful library that will allow us to create a web application like the one that I've showed you in a moment. And it doesn't require you to like know web development or these kind of things, because it makes creating a web app really, really simple. And we'll see in a moment that with just, 2 lines of code, you can already start like a user interface for an application. And that's why I really like Streamlit. Okay, so then what we are going to do, we're going to create a variable called container, and this container is going to be equal to st, which stands for Streamlit. As you can see that we're importing Streamlit as st, so Streamlit is going to be now st.container. Okay, and then what is this container exactly? So let me go to here and show you the layouts. Containers in Streamlit, they're basically like one way of doing the layout. So you can see, for example, the sidebar, which we are going to use in a moment. You'll have like a sidebar, and you'll have like an area for your content. You can like display tables, text, and all of that stuff. Like in here, we have columns, so which means that you're gonna divide the area to like columns. You can divide it to like 3 columns, 2 columns, or whatever. And this is how you do it. So you say like column 1 or call 1, call 2 is equal to st.columns2, which means that you're going to divide the area to 2 columns, and then you can assign things to the column 1 or the column 2. You can say, for example, call 1 write, this is column 1, so this text is going to go for the first column. By the way, it's if we just do 2, so it's going to be divided to 2. So column 1, you'll have this text, column 2, you'll have this text. So this is for the tabs. You'll have like different tabs, like here you click on this one, you have like some content in here, click on this one, like you have them in any software, like different tabs. Okay, in our case it's gonna be the container. So what we want is we're going to create an area. So we're saying that we're dedicating an area called container in which we are going to load things to that area. Okay, we're doing this because we are going to use a sidebar. So we don't want to like add things to the sidebar. So we don't want the map, for example, to appear in the sidebar, but we want it to be to appear in the larger area. So that's why we created a container. Just so this might be a little bit confusing, but when we go through the code, it's going to be really easy to understand. Okay, so the next thing is we are going to say with st. This is how you do like a sidebar with st.sidebar. So what this means is that if you recall that we said that there will be a sidebar, so maybe we're going to add some inputs like the one that I've showed you, like the south bound, the east, the north, and so on. I want them all to be on this sidebar. So to put all of these widgets inside the sidebar, all we have to do is to say with st.sidebar, and then we do like double points, And then everything that we are going to put in here inside that with st.sidebar, it's going to be inside the sidebar. Okay, it's really that easy. So we're going to call this new variable. It's going to be south input, and this one is going to be equal to st.text input. That's how we create a text input inside Streamlit. So the first argument is going to be the text that's going to be displayed above the input. So if we go to the Streamlit app that I've showed you, it's like this one, southbound. Okay, this is how to create a text input. You just go and click say st.text input, and that's going to create a text input. And since it is inside the st.sidebar, it's going to be inside that sidebar. Okay, if we wanted this to be inside the container, we could have just said like container.text input, and this text input is going to be inside that container. But we want that container only to hold the map, so we're not going to do that. Okay. So we're going to create southbound, northbound, westbound, and eastbound, and that's it. So let me go to here and do that here. So southbound st.text input. So the first one, I'm going to call this southbound like we did in the app. And I'm going to say this is the default text. It's going to be like, we can leave this empty if you want, but like I'm gonna say like south, this is to give the user a hint about what kind of things he needs to put in here. So I'm gonna say coordinates. Okay, so let me go and copy this one for the other ones. So I'm gonna go copy and then paste, paste again for all the four bounds, and then I'm gonna call this here north. Instead of saying this is gonna be the southbound, this is gonna be like the northbound, and this one is gonna be like north. Okay, again, we're going to say that this one is the west, this one is the east, this one is east, west, again, this one is west, and this one is east. Okay, so what this one is going to create for us, it's going to create all these inputs, and the variable here, it's going to hold what the user is going to, the text that the user is going to input. So later on, we can use this one to send a request to the server that I'm going to show you in a moment, and request some data from that. Okay. Now inside the same sidebar, what we want is we want to create a button. So again, we're going to say fst.button. This is how you do it in Streamlit. And I'm going to call this button show bounds. Show bounds. And then what I want is I'm going to say south equal to float south input. So what I'm doing here is basically I'm going to say if the button show bounds is clicked, which means this one if which means if true, because if you click on that button, it's going to be equal to true. If it's not clicked, then nothing will happen. But if it's true, which means if it's clicked, all of these variables are going to be created. So we're going to have a variable called south, which will take the input. This input is going to be a string input, so it's going to be like a text input, even though that we are going to use like numbers, but we need to convert that into like a float, which means a number with a decimal value. So we are going to assign that to the south, and we're going to do the same thing for all the other ones. So basically I'm going to do this, and I'm going to call this here north. I'm going to call this east, and I'm going to call this west. And then again, it's really easy as doing north input and here's going to be east input, and this one is going to be west input. Okay, I hope that everything is clear so far. And then what we want to do is we are going to create like a list of x and y coordinates that we are going to use to create the points that you've seen on the map. Okay, to do that, we're going to create a list called x bounds and another list called y bounds. Okay, basically it's really simple. So let me go and create a square brackets in here. That's how we create lists. Basically, it's gonna be like, if you just imagine that square in your mind, it's just a combination of the south and east, south and west, then north and east, and then north and west. So that's what we are going to say. We're gonna say that for the x, we're gonna have like south, then south, and then we have north, then north. Okay, so I'm trying to create things easily. I could have created all of these in just one line of code, but I want to make them one variable at a time, so then you can see how it is being done. Okay, so this is going to be like east, west, and this one is going to be east and then west. Okay, so basically what we want to do here is we're going to say, like, for the first point it's going to be the south coordinate with the east one. Okay, so which will define one point, and then we're going to say the south coordinate with the west coordinate. That's going to define the second one. Then the north with east is going to define the third one, and then the north with the west is going to define the final one, and that's going to create a square for us. It's the extent of our map. Okay, why are we doing this? Because later on we want to create a data frame, which is, like I said, like a table. We use just pd.data frame, and the data for us is going to be, we are going to create a dictionary. We could have created a dictionary right away in here, and we're going to say that the first column is called latitude, and what is the column for this one? We are going to use the x bounds as the column, and then we are going to create another one, which is the longitude. And what is the bounds for this one? It's, what is the column for this one? It's the y bounds. Okay, now what we can do is we can say container, which means that area that we dedicated for the map. We're going to say that this container is equal to map.df. See this line here? It's doing a lot of things for us, and it's really that simple. So basically st.map or streamlit.map, you can go and Google that or go to the Streamlit website. It's going to create a map, the world map for us, and then it's going to use the points inside the data frame and display these points inside that map. And it's really as easy as doing container.map, and then you add the you use the df as input, or a data frame that we've created. Okay, so now what we can do, now we're using just this one, we can display these coordinates into the map. So maybe you want to stop in here, and I can tell you a good example of this one, or something that you can do with this one. Maybe you'll have like a data frame of the color table of a drill hole database, and then you can pass in that data frame to here to display the drill holes in the map, and that's gonna be like a cool app. So you can just go import that CSV table and load that as a data frame, and you can display that in the map, and that's gonna be already a cool app that you can show to your friends or to your boss, and they will think that's really cool. Okay, but we're gonna do something different in here. So we are going to add a different button. We're gonna call again st.button, and we are going to call this button download. Of course, that needs to be a string. Download DEM, which means when we click on this one, on this button, we need to be able to download the DEM, okay, of these bounds that we have already defined. Okay, then we are going to use a variable in here. It's going to be URL, and let me go and take you to this website. Okay, so the website is called Open Topography. This website, you can use this website to download DEMs, and you can do that manually, or you can do that through an API. So how to do that? You can just go to My Open Topo. Of course, after you create your own account, and it's really easy, you just use your email, create a password, and that's it. And then what you can do is you can go and request an API code in here. You can go and click on request an API, and that's going to give you like a code that you can use that one to download things. Like you can download mass data, but there's like a limit to that one. So I think like, I don't know, like 5,000 requests or 2,000, whatever. You can go and search for that one, but it's not like something unlimited. So there's a limitation for that one. And they use these what they call the access tokens, so that can stay away from people who want to spam this. So just imagine like someone sending like, I don't know, like 1 million requests using a script that's gonna break everything, and that's going to make things not available for everyone. So they use like these access token to limit the number of requests that you can send to the server. And it's not a limitation, it's like more like a security option there, but it's okay. And you can request the API key. If I click on this one, there will be like a code displayed in here, so I don't want you guys to use my own API key. You can go, and it's free, you can go and create an account and then request your own API key, and you can use it in your application. Okay, so, and here's how it works. So basically, if you go to this link in here, and it's going to show you how this API works. This is basically want to do like a GET request for the global DEM, and this is what kind of arguments that we are going to use, or this is what data do they provide, and this is how we can use it. So basically, you need to send like the north, west, east, and east bound, and these are the same. This is the same example that we've used previously, and you need also to send what is the extension of the data, and this is basically my API, so I should be hiding this one, and this is my API key. This is the one that you should get. You will post it in here, and how the request looks like if you're going to use the request library. It's basically a simple link, so you'll have, this is the request URL. We're going to go, and if you go and copy this one and use it in your browser, it's going to work also. This is the request URL, so it's going to have like all of these, but then you will notice that this is the type that we are requesting of the data, and this is the south bound, the north, and the west, and the east, and then this is the format. So these are the things that we've requested in there. And this is the key that we are going to use. So you will use your own key in here. So we're going to use this one. I'm going to copy this one, and then the response is like if you get 200, so which means that everything is okay. If you get 400, that's a bad request. 401, that's unauthorized in case you're using like a bad API key or something like that. And like 500 is an internal error. So you should always, or if you want to know if it's working or not, you need to get like the code 200. Okay, so we copy this one, and we are going to try and adapt it to our needs. Okay, so this is going to be our URL. Let me go and copy that there. So the key is going to be equal to my key in here. Okay, so this is the key, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and change these things. So the first thing is I go to south, and I'm gonna say plus, and then I'm gonna do this again here, plus, and then here plus 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 this one. So basically what I'm doing here, I'm gonna replace these values with the values that you get as an input from the user from the Streamlit app. Okay, since we stored them as variables, we can use them here. Okay, so let me just change this here. Okay, and there you go. In case you want to change the API key, or you make the user like input his own API key, you can also make this one as an input, like the way we did it with the south, north, east, and west. And then the user can use his own API key and do that. But if you're using this internally and it's just for you, you can just keep your API key like that. Okay, so that's it. All we have to do now is to change the 50 here with south input, and we change the north. There's a missing plus sign in here. We change the north with the north input, and we change this one with the west input, and we change the east. You can see that it says east equal to, which is equal to the east input in our case. Okay, so this is the URL, and how are we going to send the request? Basically, we're gonna create a variable called response, and this variable is equal to requests, and here is what we are, how are we going to use that request library? We're gonna go and say get URL. Okay, so, and then how are we going to convert the response that we're going to get to like a file? All we have to do is we're going to say open, and if I just use like you know, the file name in here, it's going to download this one to where this script is running from. So if you want to download this to a specific location, you need to pass in the full path in here. In our case, I'm going to just leave it by default. It's going to be called raster.tiff because we're downloading a TIFF file. And then we want this to be in read and write format there. And we are going to say .write response dot content, which means we are creating a file with an extension of TIFF, and then we are writing the content of that response to this file. So that's really simple. You need to think of it that way. And guess what? That's it. That's the whole thing. Now, how are we going to run this one? Maybe I've done a mistake somewhere, so let me go and try and see with you guys how this one works. Okay, you just run this one, and there you go. That's the first mistake in there, and it is saying sidebar. Yeah, there's an additional R there. It's sidebar with st.sidebar. Okay, so let me go and run this. Yes, and we have this link in here. All you have to do is to copy this one, go to CMD. Let me run this again. CMD, you put this there, you run it, and it's going to open the application, which is this one. Let me go and rerun this one, and you can see it says south coordinates. We're going to use like 50, and I'm going to use like 50.5. The west coordinates, we're going to say minus 91, and then this one is going to be minus 90. Going to click on show bounds, and you can see that we have the points being created. And then if we just zoom out, we'll see that this one is Canada, and we can change this one if we want. So let me see. Let's say that I want this maybe to be like 55. Let me go and show the bounds, and you can see that now it's taller, but we don't want that. We can say again 50.5, show bounds. And as long as you have your own coordinates, you will be able to like change this. Maybe you want this to be a little bit to the right, so you keep on playing around with the coordinates. And once you're happy with that, all you have to do is to click on download DEM. And the app is going to run, and based on your internet connection and based on the area that you've chosen to download, it should take like a few seconds to a few minutes. So it really depends on that. And yeah, there's one thing that we've missed in here that I want to go and show you how to do that really quickly. So what I can do here is, when I know that everything is finished, I can do like st.write, and I'm gonna say downloaded successfully. Okay, downloaded successfully, which means that if this one is gonna be able to create the file, it's gonna write like st, it's gonna say downloaded successfully, and we can run this again. And then if I go to the app, click on show bounds, and you can see there that's the area of our interest, and I click on download DEM, and we wait, and when the download is successful, we are going to see a message here that says downloaded successfully. And we just wait a moment, and you can see downloaded successfully, which means that we can now go to our, you can see that this one here, it's been downloaded now, the raster.tif. I can go and throw this in QGIS just to make sure that we have the right area. And if I zoom out, you can see that it is in Canada, so I'm not cheating in here. And you can use this DEM the way you want it to be. So you can see that the area is there. If I go to this one and click on show bounds, you can see it is the same location. So this app might be very simple, but I know that you know, it might be useful for some of you. And you've seen how to use APIs, so if you know that there's a website that supports APIs, you can create an application and make things automated, so you don't have like to log into that website again whenever you want to download something, put in the coordinates, download it, and do these kind of things. And you can take this even further. You can extract the points from the raster, from the pixels, and basically we'll have like the altitudes in the pixels, and then you can use that one maybe with a different library to create like shape files or DXF files or even wireframes, and load the wireframes directly to your mining package. So that's something that you can do with Python. So you automate a lot of things, so you don't lose a lot of time. And if you think that this is something useful and you like this tutorial, please hit that like button, check the description what I have to offer in there, share this with your friends, and you can follow me on LinkedIn also. I share a lot of cool stuff in there. And with that being said, thank you for watching, and see you in the next tutorial.
Check the links, leave a like, and please subscribe.